9:30 on a Thursday night, and you're tuned into RIP Radio Network, which can mean one and only thing, that this is Chip Chat. Welcome to Chip Chat, everybody. I am your host, Chip. Now, normally with me would be Tez, but he is attending the Nats home opener in the rain, in the miserable, cold, early April rain, for a game that was supposed to start this afternoon at 3 o'clock or 1 o'clock, something like that. It got pushed back, and then it got pushed back another hour because rain. Yeah.
It's been raining a lot.
To be clear, again, I did not make that happen. We don't control the weather. That's true. But that disapproving moan came from my guest co-host, Slim D. Say hi to it's radio. They can't see you. That's good to hear. Gross to hear?
Depends on who you ask.
Right. Okay. So Slim D is here drinking his very fine
box wine.
Box Pinot Grigio.
Sponsored by
7-Eleven. Mm-hmm. I am, of course, drinking our actual show sponsor, Hop Slam. They are not our show sponsor. But
it sounds good.
Not yet, but they do retweet us a lot because we talk about their stuff. Okay, so Tez is out. We have the next best thing-ish. You ready?
I am.
Okay, we have a guest tonight also. Dewey's an award-winning filmmaker and all kinds of other stuff that, we can't wait to talk to you about. It's going to be fantastic. Dewey's here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. We have a special this time this week involving Fox News, which is not the Fox News that we often talk about on this show, although I'm sure it'll make an appearance.
Fox News.
We've got a whole bunch of other stuff. Many things are going to happen tonight. We are going to make Dewey play Florida or Nah.
Florida or not?
Yeah. No, Florida or Nah.
Or Nah.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
It's like, is it Florida or Nah? But no, we'll get the sound effect for when he does it because there's a famous.
All right, I'll find out when I get there.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're going with this.
Don't worry.
Sure, it's going to be interesting.
All right. The other important thing is that many years ago, the original co-host with me, Larry King Without Suspenders, we said one time, grab some buds, it's Miller time. And then there was the merger between S.A.B. Miller and Anheuser-Busch.
Which you probably caused.
Which we caused, is what we claimed. Yeah. So, since then, and this is going on like 7 years now, we have been doing this part where we say sit back, grab some, and then random word, smash it together, see if the world cooperates. Yes. Okay. So you want to play too?
I'll do my best.
Okay. So think up a word. Don't say what it is. I'm going to point to you. Then you're going to say the word. You think up a word. I'm going to point to you. You say your word. Then I'll say my word. Then we'll hit the break. You feel like you're ready?
I think
this is live radio.
So we're playing it now? Right now?
Yes, this is how this is live radio.
And this gets us hit any time?
Huh? No, this is just this time.
Okay.
But this is your warning. You've been warned. There's no more warnings after this. Okay, you ready? You got your word? No?
Okay.
All right, you're thinking about it. Okay, you got it?
It could be any word.
It could be any word.
Okay.
Any word. It does not matter. You got your word?
I do.
Okay. All right, sit back, grab some
trash.
Chandelier.
It is Clausen Pickle time. You're listening to the best show, the only show, Chip Chat on RIP Radio Network. On RIP Radio Network. I am your host, Chip. With me tonight, filling in for Tez, is Slim D.
In the flesh.
Yep. I like that. It's a good tagline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You've been practicing that.
You like that, don't you?
I hear.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, well.
Hey, whatever you're into.
Listen.
I'm straight but not narrow. I don't care.
Mike, you full of shit.
That's right. Dewey's here, too.
Hey.
Hey. Sorry, Dewey.
I don't really have a tagline.
That's okay. Hey is good.
Yeah.
It works for a lot.
Hey.
Yeah. Dewey, hey! Yeah. All right, so as you know, this show is broadcast from the D.C. area. So one of the things that we are affected by is stuff that happens on Capitol Hill. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of time that's Congress meddling with things that are not their business, like D.C.'s marijuana laws or D.C.'s zoning laws or anything in the district. Fake Mayor Andy Harris, Congressman of the Eastern Shore.
Oh, God.
Is very sure to stick his nose in it. But that is not the kind of Capitol Hill activity we are talking about for this week's list time. A mother red fox was captured Tuesday on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol, and she has been euthanized because she tested positive for rabies. Now, the story was that there was this fox running around Capitol Hill, and it bit a few people. Like, for real.
She wasn't socially distancing.
That's correct. Or wearing her mask. Bad fox. But it's fox. What do you expect? Right? Yeah, her name was Laura Ingram. No. So I have foxes in my neighborhood. You have foxes in your neighborhood?
Yeah, I
You
usually
have
hear
foxes
them.
in your neighborhood?
Not really.
You
I
ever
live in
heard of fox?
Southeast, so...
Huh?
You ever hear
Oh,
foxes?
it's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
If you don't know that that's a fox,
It just sounds like someone getting murdered or something.
that's exactly what it sounds like. Yeah, it's terrifying.
You do that really well. Are you half fox?
No, more MSNBC. So, but the fox is around, and we have foxes around, and you probably know that they are not super approachable. That
No.
they will bolt, and they're fast and really maneuverable. You have them around.
Yeah, well, I can never really see them. It's just, quick glimpse and it's gone.
Oh, flash.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, this fox was obviously interacting with people, which is a dead giveaway that there's something very wrong with the fox.
Is there something about rabies that makes them go towards
Yes,
other
actually.
things?
Rabies, it's a virus, and it infects the brain of the animals, and it mostly infects carnivores. So, you're not going to get a rabid rodent, for example. It's not really
It sounds like the beginning of like a zombie film.
Yeah,
Yes.
It does sound like a
That's
horror
exactly
movie.
how it works, because then the rabid animal is very chancy. It will interact with things that it wouldn't normally interact with, and if it bites you, it can transmit the virus.
Okay, so wait. So what I'm hearing is that the 9 people that have been bitten are potentially getting ready to expose us to a different type of world in the next 30 days?
Well,
Is that what I'm
they
hearing?
basically have to go into this rabies treatment protocol, which, because rabies is a virus, there isn't exactly like a pill that kills it, but there's this series of pills and shots, very painful shots, that will probably work.
So this Walking Dead thing that we talked about 2 or 3 years ago
Is kind of
really-
possible with rabies.
So, I didn't know this was a virus. I just thought all I could remember was people choke on their own spit and it
Foaming
closes
at the
up.
mouth and
But
all that stuff.
I didn't know about this whole chasing people and trying to eat them.
That's why you have to have, that's why you have to get your dogs. They got to get
So
the
they're
rabies
just gonna have
vaccine.
to fight with flare-ups and hey, watch out today. I might try to eat you.
Yeah, kind of for a few weeks while they're under the protocol. Yeah,
Wow.
that's exactly right. But
So they're quarantining?
yes, and they'll have to they'll have to beat this back and stuff. It like I said, it's not like a bacterial infection that you could beat it with an antibiotic. It's a virus.
Wow.
We don't really have a good way to kill viruses. We have some antiviral drugs, and so it's this cocktail of those in some sort of combination, which I don't know the details of.
Wow.
So what part of the Capitol was this fox sleeping in?
It was all over Capitol Hill. But what we want to talk about is how the fox got to be the kind of fox that it was and what is going to happen afterwards. Because you saw in the story, they mentioned it was a mother fox, which means that it had kits.
They euthanized them.
No, I don't think they did anything with the kits, did they?
They euthanized them this morning.
They said they wouldn't disclose what was being done with them.
Yeah, as of this morning.
Or whether they too would be euthanized. But city health authorities said in an email that they were working to determine the next steps for the fox kits.
Yeah, they're dead.
Pretty likely.
Yeah, they're dead.
That's okay.
Nice coats, though, we can get
That's
for next winter.
right. So, with that in mind, this week's list time, we have a series of fox jokes about the Capitol Hill fox. Slim D, would you like to read the very first of these jokes?
No, I'm going to stay away from that first one, but I'm going to let you do that.
Okay,
first
the
one.
fox, of course, got rabies from MTG after she tried to fight the fox, mistaking it for Ilhan Omar's headscarf. which is definitely what happened.
You sure?
I don't know. That's what the Fox said. What does the Fox say? Don't fight MTG. You'll get rabies. Okay.
So when authorities tried to confront the Fox, it denied being a Fox because it's Fox News.
Of course it did. Come here, Fox. I'm not a Fox. It's fake news.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said.
That's a dad joke.
That was a great joke.
That was a dad joke.
I'm very proud of that.
Definitely a dad joke.
Matt Gaetz was seen encouraging the Fox to join one of his cocaine-fueled orgies, but once he found out that the Fox was a mother and therefore clearly of age, he lost interest.
Okay. I love that too. Okay.
Matt Gaetz. Yeah. Sorry, Dewey.
Yeah, I'll just keep quiet.
Yep. All right.
Ted Cruz mistaked the fox for Trump's hair, attempting to give it a blowjob, only to find out it was a fox frightened by its own beard.
Yes. Ted Cruz's beard frightened off the fox.
Yeah, that one was weak.
Well, it saw itself in the mirror. Hey, get out of here.
You know what?
All right, Madison Cawthorn was cornered by the fox after it ran him into the Capitol steps, and he could not escape, which is funny because Madison Cawthorn is in a wheelchair, and he is a bad, bad, bad man, and therefore it's okay to make fun of that.
Upon hearing the news that Sarah Palin might be coming to Congress, the Fox chose a more honorable death.
That is also very true. Sarah Palin announced that she's running for Don Young's old seat in Alaska and got Trump's endorsement immediately. It's a jungle primary, though, so she probably won't win, but it's a possibility.
So
Alaska's way up there anyway, so
Right, but
what are
then
they
she'll
doing?
come here.
Oh, I see. Just by getting
With
through
her
that
word
door.
salad. Yes. And then because if she's a congressperson, then she has to come here to Congress.
Oh,
You know when people go like, oh, DC's a swamp and a blah, blah, blah. We're like, you send them here. We're just from here. We didn't choose that. Y'all just send them. Don't put that shit on us. We can't even vote for anybody in the district.
So, did you or did you not create this Fox's Twitter page?
I did not.
The writing was very similar to your writing.
It turns out many people write like me.
It was very similar. I read it in your voice.
That's good.
well, what kind of things are being said? I don't know anything about this.
Well, the Fox has a Twitter. I don't know. I'm not even following the Capitol Hill Fox Twitter.
So the Fox was talking about she had gotten captured. It was not her. She needed representation, so that she was going to court. And it was...
That does sound like the sort of stuff I would say.
It definitely did.
I mean, it's a lot like some of these jokes.
She was denying all of allegations, biting people. It was alleged.
I mean, it is Fox News. This couldn't be more on the nose. I don't know how else to explain this. But, all right, speaking of which, Rupert Murdoch has already offered the Kits a contract to keep menacing Democrats in Congress. Because it's Fox.
Yeah, I guess. I'll go with that.
All right, anybody else got any bad Fox jokes?
I think we're foxed out.
Yeah? It'd be a bit of a fox paw to get this one wrong.
A dead fox paw.
Really fox paw. That's awful.
That was
Somebody should take the show away from me.
a dad joke.
I am proud and sorry of that one. Want to take a break?
Sure.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. You're listening to Chip Chat on RIP Radio Network. Welcome back to Chip Chat here on Rip Radio Network. I am your host, Chip. With me tonight, filling in for Tez, is Slim D.
In the flesh.
And Dewey.
Yep.
Okay, went from hey to yup. That's good. I like that. All right, now we've come to the part of the show called The Rundown, where we're going to tell you about some stuff that's going on in the news. All right, you know that guy used to be president?
The one with the funny hair?
The one with the funny hair.
And the orange skin?
And the orange, the dangerous pumpkin, as my kids call him. Yes, the former guy.
Okay.
Yeah, TFG. He got kicked off of the Twitters.
Yeah, he's being naughty, I heard.
It was pretty sad, right? He got kicked off of Twitter. So now he issues press releases like their tweets, except now they're longer, but still full of misspellings, like all of his lawsuits. Okay, so he was like, well, I'm taking my ball and going home, right? So he's going to make his own Twitter, which he, I think, very unironically named Truth Social.
I mean, have you tried to download this thing?
No.
Let me download it now and see what's going on.
I don't think you can.
Isn't it like a long wait list, though? You
Yes.
can't even access it until you get...
What the hell's going on?
So
that became the meme. People just waiting in line and never really
What's
getting
it called? Truth Social?
Truth Social. So the idea here is that it's a Twitter knockoff. It looks and behaves exactly like Twitter, and it had all of these technical problems. Its launch date was delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed.
You can customize your own profile. It has messages, video, dark mode.
Yes. Oh, clever.
This is interesting.
But it also has all of these problems, like it doesn't work. People aren't able to get on it or log in. And the top brass that's running this thing have all quit. And Truth Social was supposed to be the backbone of the new Trump social media empire. It's only got 500,000 users or something like that, and nobody else is able to get on it, and it's bad. And who's in charge of it? Devin Nunes, former California Congressman Devin Nunes, who is sort of more famous for losing a lawsuit to a fake cow on Twitter.
So this is kind of like watching an episode of The Dropout.
Yeah. I mean, this stuff is a really good example of people who don't know what they're doing being mad and flailing about, which is funny. I mean, it would be sad if these people were good and desperate and trying, but they're bad people and it's funny. So it also has this other problem that it has these terms of service that I don't know how they didn't notice this, would definitely throw Trump off of it immediately. It says that you can't use bad words or disparage people or anything like that.
So on this app, you can't use bad words on a Trump-based app?
Yes,
You
and
can't
the
use
same
bad
thing
words.
is true of the...
That is unheard of.
Mike Lindell made some sort of attempted social media website, how also has similar terms of service. It's supposed to be about free speech, but it doesn't allow you to denigrate anybody or say anything that people disagree with, or say bad things about Jesus or whatever. It's historically bad. Trump has privately fumed about the app's slow rollout and is mused about joining other platforms such as Getter, one of its biggest competitors, which is also this sort of Trumpy fake Twitter that has the Trump hair as the logo.
Wasn't there a couple of other apps, too, that didn't really make it? It was what is it? Gabber.
Well, there's Gab that is still operating, but it's falling down.
And there was another one that got shut down, didn't it?
Yes, Parler. Parler couldn't find hosting because nobody wanted it, and also
This is hilarious. So maybe he should get a Twitter app again, a burner account, and go in there and tweet about.
Well,
how
remember,
he
he says he doesn't know what burner phones are, so he certainly couldn't do that.
Was there any way that anyone could sabotage, though, getting in? They caught wind of it and then go into to spam it?
That's it. What a terrible idea. Who would do such a thing?
I'm just thinking people would hear about it and they would want to be at the front of the line to
the BTS Army bought all the tickets to the Trump rallies so that nobody could go? What an awful idea, Dewey.
Scalpers. Ugh.
We here at Chip Chat certainly haven't been very, very definitely engaging in that exact activity. Nope, not at all.
Nope.
They said Devin Nunes has regularly traveled to Mar-a-Lago to brief the former guy and discuss the platform's issue. Trump is holding out hope that the platform will eventually be lucrative, but he has been reluctant to post on it because, quote, it is not ready for prime time. He said of his own app.
Of course it's not.
Right. He has, however, continued to pay attention to Twitter, which he repeatedly criticized as irrelevant. Since the site banned him, he still reviews tweets from politicians and members of the media from time to time. Yeah, it's... Would you join? You're going to join, right?
Absolutely.
You signed up.
Hold on.
I'm signing up. I mean, Ted Cruz knocked me off of main Twitter. I have to use one of my backup. I use the show's account now because I wished him well in his fight with polio.
It's downloading now.
Let's see what number you get. Let's see if you ever get it. In the meantime, other very pressing, very important news. I'm going to read you the beginning of this story, and I'm just going to let you go from there, Slim D. A man on a Southwest Airlines flight from Seattle to Phoenix is facing federal charges for pulling down his pants and masturbating at least 4 times in front of a female passenger.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
Shortly after takeoff, according to the criminal complaints first obtained by the Daily Beast.
Wait. So let's stop right there. All right. So the plane gets ready to take off. So we're on
the tarmac.
We're on a tarmac.
Taxiing out to the runway.
And we're just moving out. And so he just pulls it out and he starts playing with it right there.
Well, there's a bit of a story. Antonio Sherrod McGarity was arrested by officers from the Phoenix Police Department when the flight landed at Sky Harbor International Airport on Saturday. However, McGarity told cops that he didn't do anything wrong and, in fact, thought it was kind of kinky. Quote, the incident started early in the 3-hour flight. 3-hour flight. 4 times
So
in
he
3
wasn't
hours.
just sitting in his seat, like doing his thing, trying to stay hidden. He was like an exhibitionist and wanting to show off.
Quote, McGarity was seated in 11F and the female witness was seated in seat 11E. That'd be next. You fly a lot, right? That's right next to it?
That is either right across or right next to it.
Okay. Shortly after taking off, and while the aircraft was in the air,
shortly after taking off, huh?
exposed his penis by pulling down his pants and shorts and began so it wasn't even the under the blanket,
So he just pulled it all down. So
all the way down.
So they're around the ankles now.
When the female seated next to him noticed the lewd behavior, when she noticed, was there a lag in there?
Well, she's sitting right next to him.
Well, maybe there's a long
She heard the
moment
zipper
of
come
like
off.
denial, like
This dick!
and then have to gather the courage to look over and see what happened.
Yeah,
So where was the flight attendant?
Okay, hold on. When she noticed the lewd behavior, she began taking pictures of him. Right? When he fell asleep after masturbating for roughly an hour.
Wait. This story is just going too many different...
When he fell asleep after masturbating for roughly an hour, the female passenger told a crew member, then she told a crew member,
Ding!
about what she had witnessed and she was allowed to move to another seat. It's a good thing it wasn't a full flight.
So he pulls his dick out.
Yep.
He's masturbating for an hour, and she's sitting next to him.
Yes.
And she's looking at him,
taking
masturbating.
pictures.
And she's taking pictures on her phone.
And doesn't ding or be like, yo.
This guy has his dick out right here.
Like, we might not have to involve the air marshals in this, but at least a sort of like, yo, what the fuck, man?
All right,
Yeah,
so a
timing's
flight from
really
Seattle, Washington. So now we're in, Wyoming or something, and this guy has his dick out for a whole hour.
I don't know where you think Wyoming is, but if we're flying from Seattle to Phoenix.
But to Phoenix, right.
We're an hour in. We're somewhere over Nevada.
No, it's not that far. It's a 3-hour flight. This is a 3-hour flight. No.
Not Wyoming.
They're flying, and that flight is going to go past Wyoming down to Nevada.
Not where Seattle is. Seattle's on the West Coast, man.
I understand that.
I know where Phoenix is. Did win the state geography bee. All right. So after the hour and stuff, the complaint states that when Southwest Airlines flight landed, Phoenix police officers interviewed the woman who reiterated that she had seen McGarity masturbating on 4 separate occasions using both his left and right hands. Oh,
Did she have a video? Did she have a video, or did she just have
just
pictures?
Apparently photos. I don't know. He was also, the FBI interviewed him, of course. He admitted to his in-flight behavior. Quote, McGarity advised he asked the female witness if she minded if he masturbates.
Oh, no, I don't mind if you masturbate. Go ahead.
According to McGarity, the female witness put her hands in the air and said, it really doesn't matter.
I'm okay with it.
According
to him.
McGarity thought the response was, quote, kind of kinky and believed the female was comfortable with him masturbating.
So who else was there anyone else on this plane?
Well, this must not have been that full of flight. I mean, obviously they moved her seat.
Well, Southwest doesn't fly small jets.
They fly 737s exclusively.
Right, so that means that it had to at least...
like 200 people.
I mean, yeah, so...
That's about what those carry.
So everyone sitting on this side didn't see this guy with his pants around his ankles?
You're the one that knows the layouts of airplanes.
I think people have been on lockdown way too long, and they just need a little excitement in their life. You know, like, wow,
what's going on over there?
I'm getting some positive attention here.
You know, hey, how's it going?
It's a party up there on row 11.
I need someone in my life.
What if, you know, like maybe it was her, or maybe it was him? Like maybe there was some sort of connection there. You know, what if he'd have been sitting next to you? You think he would have done it or not?
I don't know.
What would you have done if somebody did that next to you? Has that ever happened to you on a flight? You fly a lot.
Yeah, but I've never had a guy pull his dick out and pull it. No, I've never had
You've never had that happen?
No.
This dick! On April 2nd, we received reports of inappropriate customer behavior on...
I have seen a titty out on a plane, though. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have seen a titty out on a plane. It was.
Was she nursing some?
She was nursing, but this is how it went. So I was sitting in the middle on a flight to L.A., and so she was sitting here, and the husband was sitting here, and they had children.
Yes.
And so she was nursing, and so she passed the baby over to me, and her titty was out, and she says, oh, could you hold the baby for a second? And so I'm holding the baby, and I'm looking at her titty, and I'm like, oh, my God, this is really awkward. And then the husband is like, here, I'll take the baby for a second, and then hands me back the baby, and then I hand the baby back to her, and then she puts the baby back on her titty.
I mean, you're basically in the family now.
I mean, they bought me free drinks,
So, team player.
Yeah.
They were buying you drinks and showing you the titty. They were trying to get you to come...
Well, she wasn't showing me her titties. I mean,
back with them, you know, to make more children.
Okay, all right.
Well, she didn't know.
What kind of drinks did they buy you?
Slim D. Yeah, barking up the wrong tree there, lady. Okay.
Well, I mean, enough drinks, you never know.
Yeah, that's true, right? Hey, a mouth is a mouth.
Oh, God.
That's what they say, anyway. Southwest put them on the no-fly list, so it's all safe now. You can go back to flying Southwest.
I'm concerned, though, about the other passengers on there that was enjoying this.
Spirit Airlines would have charged everybody in the surrounding seats an extra $35 for the show.
Spirit Airlines actually would have created an OnlyFans account. They definitely would have.
That's right. Or perhaps an OnlyFans account. That is a throwback. We'll have to explain that to you off air. Probably not going to care, but it's very funny. It's a moment where I brokered peace. So I'm, you know.
And moving on.
I'm like Jimmy Carter. All right. Moving on. We're going to take a break. How's that sound?
A break sounds lovely.
All right. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. You're listening to Chip Chat on Ripped Radio Network.
Is just another example of the speed at which things are changing all around us. We need the kind of courage that can withstand the subtle corruption of the cynics, so that we can show the world that we are not afraid of the future. That's why we can take a pride in the new Commonwealth we are building.
Back to Chip Chat here on Rip Radio Network. I am your host, Chip. With me, filling in for Tez tonight, is Slim D.
And we're back.
We are.
We're back.
But that wasn't your tagline.
I know. I changed.
Oh, okay. You're allowed to do that.
I am.
You're allowed to do whatever you want.
I'm allowed to.
As long as I say, hey, whatever, it's cool for an hour. I don't know. Is Trump going to... You know, we've had some nudity on this network every now and then, as long as it's not like... outrageous.
What kind of nudity are we talking about? Like this plain nudity, or
well, there's a button right here.
Yeah, that's right.
If I hit it,
it will cause the nudity. Yes, you can ring the bell. We usually use it for
But there's no titties in here, so I can't use.
You don't know that
on Sundays.
Yeah, Sundays. There's often
titties in here on Sunday.
There's a lot of things that happen here.
Okay.
The Rip Radio studio is quite the spot.
Oh, OnlyFans as well. Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We don't make any money at it, but, you know, one day. Okay, Dewey is here.
Hey,
he's back to hey. All right, award-winning filmmaker, photographer, producer, artist, musician, all-around genius, we should say. Does that seem fair?
Thank you.
Recently won an award for the film Net Fins and Chill.
Oh.
No?
I have to say I was on the crew. I can't always take credit for these things.
You
it's
can't
like, you know,
take credit.
No, I mean it's there's a weird story about that
credit.
too. Yeah.
We're going to ask you about the weird story. Yeah. Let's see. Recently featured in a documentary about Columbia Pike in Arlington. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I'm sure the interview we saw on WTA was a clip.
Just a small clip
but
of it. Yeah,
they had much more they talked to you about, which would be pretty interesting. And you have a new record coming out or something?
Record? Oh, well, I'm in a band, and we're working on original music.
That's what that means. Yes, you have a new record coming out. That is a thing. Yeah.
Well, yes. I don't think of it as a new record. It's like, all right, let's just get this stuff and get raw practice and like play a good show, and then once we're good, then we'll go and record it. But I never thought of it as a record yet.
Okay, you heard it here first. I want credit. Put me on the album cover.
Okay.
It's all words. Yeah, right. You can hit the bell. There you go. You feel better now?
Well,
it didn't work.
It didn't really have a resolution.
It did not deliver what it says. The bell says, the bell says what? Show me your tits. Didn't work.
Well, I mean, what do you identify as? You make it just show us whatever you have.
I mean, I think everybody has tits.
But we're not in New Orleans, and there's no beads coming out to show tits.
That's true. Also, I think that was a few weeks ago.
No, it forever goes on.
It's like all the time?
All the time.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about Net Fins. So what is this film? How can people watch it? And what did you win that you'd say you didn't win?
Okay, we won Best Film. But again, like this is not my film. Like someone else wrote it and someone else directed. I didn't direct. I'm on the crew. But like I shot the film, but something happened during production and like all the footage got lost. So I couldn't come in that day, and they brought someone else in and they replicated all the same shots I did. So it's like, that's my shot, but it's not my shot. It's like, that's my shot, not my shot. It's a really weird feeling to see all these shots replicated from what I already did. So you composed
the shot as the cinematographer.
Yeah.
And then somebody else basically
came in and had to redo exactly the same shots. So it's weird to see the same day, but not the same day. It's like,
because the light's a little
It's like
different.
Someone's like made a copy of what I did.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Okay, but so what is the premise of this film? How can people watch it? And what award did you win?
We actually won Best Film, which is great.
Where?
And
at the Oscars?
Did
you have to slap Chris Rock?
No, we didn't. It was at the Kennedy Reach, which is the new facility that was built right between the building and the big field. I've never been there before. It feels really weird being there because it's like, you know DC, and it's like, oh, where is this? It just feels like...
Right, didn't exist
in the
until
middle
a few
of
years
nowhere.
ago.
Well, I have to honestly say that when we showed the film, it was a lot better than the other stuff that was being shown. I was kind of surprised some of the stuff that was being picked, because I'm a programmer at, the Asian Pacific Film Festival.
Right.
And, like, it wouldn't have passed.
No, none of that stuff would have made the
I'm just like, so it's like a race between, like, you have infants and, like, like a high school runner. Like, these people, they can't even walk yet, so it's just like
So you
weird to
smoked
compare. Yeah, it's just like a really weird, easy win. I don't know if I feel like super crazy about it, but it's just like, all right, well, the hype brings attention to
And
our
what
work.
was the organization that bestowed the award?
They were called U Films. I hope they don't watch this.
Their selection and curating is terrible.
Somebody must have had connections because they got the Kennedy Center, which is pretty hype.
I mean, that's pretty good,
Yeah,
right?
it is pretty nice.
And
it
it's
was a
that
nice
new venue
facility.
where they show outdoor stuff there, right? Isn't that part
I've
of the
never
thing?
been to any of their events before.
I
I've
haven't
only
been there either
to
since
this
they finished
theater.
building it. I was
Yeah.
watching them build it for a long time.
Yeah,
Diana
yeah.
used to work over there, so she was, she's now running Wolf Trap. Can you
Oh.
believe that? People we know are
Doing big
in
stuff.
charge of Wolf Trap. I know.
You get the
I'm just
hookup?
shocked that someone knows you that's able to do something like
It's
that.
kind of what I'm saying.
It's terrible.
Well, and Terrence runs the Anacostia Arts Center, and I have friends who I shouldn't be friends with. Dewey's on that list.
I've been saying this since I've met you.
That's true. Okay, speaking of that, also you had a big television break. You're probably going to be too famous to talk to us after this.
It doesn't feel that way. It's just like happens, and it's like, all right, I got other problems in life I have to deal with. It's not really like, oh yes, live it up. I'm a big star or anything. It's,
All right, well, Channel 26, WETA,
Yeah.
which is the local PBS station here in D.C., in Arlington, they have this series called If You Lived Here, which it's really interesting, and it's a great place to learn a lot about local history at a glance in half-hour chunks.
I've seen it. It's really nice.
Also disguised as a real estate show, which is a little weird. I would rather just the bit where they interview the people in the neighborhoods. I don't
Yeah.
care about guess the price of this house.
yeah, I just fast forwarded all that. It's like, yeah, let's
I
look
didn't
at
care
me.
about that. But anyway, yes, let's talk about you. So they interviewed you about specifically Columbia Pike, which for people who are outside of the area don't know, but it's a road in South Arlington.
It's supposed to be one of the most diverse roads
the
in
most diverse zip
America.
code in America,
And
yeah.
we are documented because we want it to be the blueprint for the rest of America. And it's been getting a lot of attention. We've been touring around our work in the Virginia Library in Richmond, and I think a couple other places. This is my uncle would just randomly call me. He's not even on the internet. And he's like, I just walked into this museum and your work's here. There's a picture of you. I'm like, oh, really? I didn't even know it was there.
So this is mostly the photo stuff that you are doing with Lloyd.
Lloyd Wolf.
This is, Lloyd
He's the
Wolf.
director of the program, and we've known each other for a really long time.
This is the Columbia Pike documentary
Project.
Yeah, project.
So how did
sorry.
you get connected to this project?
I as a little kid, in middle school, there was an after school program, and I didn't. I kind of came from a pretty abusive household, so this was my only escape to go into this center, and then they were just giving out free cameras and free film and free developing
at
for
the
kids.
Career Center down there?
Not the Career Center. There was a Arlington Mill Community Center there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
Arlington
it was
Mill.
right across the street from my house. So it was just I just stumbled in because I was curious, and they were just like, "Hey, come on into our class. Here's a camera. You can
When
have
that
it."
Safeway used to be right
Yes,
over
where the
there.
Safeway,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
just
yeah.
retrofit it into a community center. And so they gave us stuff, and we could go and explore. And I thought it was pretty genius because it's if you were an outsider coming into a random household, it's going to be really awkward for you to just look at that household from the inside and get candid, honest moments. So they gave the kids the camera, so we documented from the inside. And so from there, I just developed into this project. It just became a new thing once that kind of dissolved. This became the more adult version of that program.
Oh, wow.
The Pike is an unbelievable place. I mean, I used to live in Green Valley, which is, basically at one end of this. And, and I was a North Arlington kid growing up, but I spent a lot of time down there. I got a friend who's got a condo right behind where the Safeway was, by the Arlington Mill. And there was a Roy Rogers which
I
then became
remember
the B&E's for 5 minutes or something like that.
Hardee's, and then
it became Hardee's, and then Roy's back again.
I just used to think that property was like cursed or something. Nobody could hold a business there.
I could tell you the Roy Rogers story with the Hardee's and the transitions and the back and forth. That's a whole nother episode. I'm totally obsessed with Roy Rogers. But anyway, so like the Pike is a great place, but it's pretty nondescript, right? If you were to drive down it, I think in the documentary or on the Channel 26 episode, they're talking about, it's a lot of this sort of FHA housing, kind of very solidly built brick stuff. It's very, I think Lloyd Wolf called it plain and architecturally uninteresting or something like that.
Yeah, it's just a mishmash of just like junk almost, It
It's
doesn't,
not appealing.
It's not.
There's no visual thing to it, but there's definitely a vibe and a feeling down there.
Which part?
See, that's the thing, is that it's different everywhere.
It is.
Okay? So, like, when I lived in Green Valley, one of the places we used to go a lot was the K1 store there on Columbia Pike, which is, on one side, and then the LA Grill is kind of underneath it in this building. And it was this, like, little Korean grocery store. And what I remember was they had Bud Ice 12-packs for very inexpensive. And that was what was important to me at the time. But how would you describe the vibe on Columbia Pike?
It's just
even the surrounding areas.
It's just a mishmash of all sorts of things. I just think people, like, once they found their secure area, they just made it that part of their home, and then it's not like they all start talking and have like, hey, town meeting, let's make this look like a certain way. But
it's not a Disneyland thing.
Yeah.
This is organically.
There's a good photo by like Lloyd where he does like a long shot down, and you just see all these billboards with all these like broken signs and random fonts, and it's just like all mashed up together with like big commercials. It's like, I think that kind of describes how it looks.
What people may not know is, nationwide now everybody knows about Five Guys, but the first Five Guys was on Glebe and Columbia Pike in that shopping center where the Boston Market was. Yeah. And then it moved from there
Shout out to that Boston Markets. I love that Boston
And then
Market.
it was a Hollywood Video over there, too, for a little while. But then it moved from there down to the Beauregard and Route 7 spot where then now that's an apartment building.
It's torn down, too.
But I used to live behind that Five Guys. So that's the second Five Guys, even though it's really the same grill from the original Five Guys.
Five Guys has now moved into the old Verizon spot.
Well, there's a lot of new Five Guys.
Well, that particular one.
My other one in Springfield, they bulldozed and rebuilt in the same spot, but with new grills, which ruins it.
I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with the Pike. I mean, a lot of these sort of floor level retail condo above is like starting to dominate the whole Pike.
Yeah,
so I'm not
the
sure
1
if
in
it's
4.
really our job to like save the Pike, but we're documenting it. I don't know if someone's going to like take interest in like
Did you go
figuring
talk
out.
to the folks at B&E's?
I think Lloyd's probably documented over there more. I haven't. I'm just documenting the things that I was a part of in my perception of reality.
Because you're
at
a
the
little
time.
further west.
Yeah, I'm down towards Annandale
Yeah.
on that side.
All right. So that's brilliant stuff, and we'll have to talk more about that because I'm very interested in it. So your band is rehearsing, which means that you have a new record coming out. Which is what
we're
I said.
called Ash Dawn. It's kind of based on like metalcore, or like like that post-hardcore sound, But we have more singing, not screaming.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I know you play many instruments. I think when
I'm a
met
drummer.
you were the drummer.
Yep, I'm a drummer. Still drummer.
You're still mostly drumming?
Yeah.
Okay. But you also produce a lot of things, right? And you do a lot of the sort of editing and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So what is the goal? Are you going to get an EP out of this, or what are we getting here?
What, with the filmmaking?
No, with the band.
Oh, the band?
We forget about
Well, I
film
mean,
now.
it's
Get
just
back
for
to the
me,
music.
filmmaking takes a long time to feel that gratification because there's just like, all these different steps and like headaches and things. But with the music, it's like, it just feels good playing, and I just want to be a part of something that does that.
So when will we see a show?
I
Where
think
can
we were
see it?
supposed to debut in like July, but we were just going to play at Epicure, but that place is closed now. I think
Yeah.
they had their last night like yesterday.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah. So there goes our show.
They had a long run.
But we'll have plenty of time to rehearse the material. We're still working
Still
on
looking
it.
for a
we
venue?
have we have I don't know if we're that far along yet. We're just producing the music. We're working with a producer that's like, I think maybe in Richmond, but there's a producer, which is kind of interesting Because
Is this your first time working with a producer that isn't you?
That's not me, yeah. But it's a little easier. I was just like, oh, here, listen to this, rehearse this. All right, great. So I just go. It's like much easier than sitting around and just like arguing all night long. It's like, no, you're doing this wrong.
Are you that producer?
I may be. That might be the problem with what happened with the previous band, Markle and them.
And what, James, I think, right?
James.
Yeah.
No, that was just because, my dad just made me drop out of the band. But, it ended up turning into another project, but that became like a huge mess. We were getting involved in doing these video game covers, and we got into this thing called MagFest. You know what MagFest is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this giant festival, I think like 60,000 people at a time before, COVID hit. And so we just thought if we captured like at least 1,000 of that, it would be a pretty successful show. And we actually got pretty deep into it, but I think it just got to people's heads and like things just completely imploded and it didn't work out at all.
Rockstar life, man.
Yeah.
See, we don't have to worry about that because this show is never going to get that famous. We've been at it for 7 years.
It's really unfortunate. Because, Marco, I think you know him from way back, but we kind of like fell out from that, which is weird because I don't usually lose friends like that I've had for a long time.
That's sad.
So,
well, we'll get together and have a beer and we'll talk.
Hopefully, you can bring us together. And I can
bridge the gap. We are peacemakers on this show. I mentioned the OnlyFans earlier. I feel like this is now a good segue to bring this up. But there is a baseball team in Olney, Maryland, that just started, and our friends over at the Tacoma Torch, which is a fake newspaper like the Onion, wrote an article about the Olney baseball teams. They're like the Ripken League, so it's sort of like minor league, college league baseball. They wrote an article. Eric wrote an article about these guys' website, onlyfans.com, getting a ton of traffic after OnlyFans banned pornography.
OnlyFans. I see.
Yes, it's flips 2 letters.
I see what they were doing there.
And the baseball team's lawyers got upset and filed a cease and desist, and they told them, you can't write this stuff. And the Tacoma Torch was like, this is obviously a joke. You don't, by your own admission, even have a website, so I don't know how there could be any confusion here. There's no like obvious mistake here. So forget it. And they got into it. It became a protracted bit of legal hubbub, and it attracted national press because it's funny and it's interesting or whatever. Well, I managed to get in touch with Tony, who's the owner of the Olney baseball team, which is now named the Crop Dusters, in honor of their agricultural heritage there up in Upper Montgomery County, and are leaning heavily into the fart jokes. In case you were thinking they weren't.
No.
Their thing, like when they, which they haven't played a game yet, but when they win, they want to say we dusted them. They've got all these shirts, like, who smelt it.
Why do I feel like you had something to do with
I didn't cause that, but I was pretty happy about it, and I bought a hat, and Tez and I may or may not be involved in helping to, call some of the games coming into the next season. We're hoping. We've offered our services, and we'd like to be involved. And Tony is willing to have us. I hope still. I don't know. He's probably not listening. But anyway, so that's the OnlyFans joke of earlier. So look, but I brought them together. I brought the Torch and the Crop Dusters together. They have buried the hatchet. They're friends now. Everything is cool, and everything was settled here on Chip Chat. So if there's anybody who can bring peace,
oh boy,
I'm like Jimmy Carter. I'm telling you. All right. Also, you've been like producing music, film, photography, visual arts of all kinds for like ever. What outlet, or which outlet, I should say, do you feel is the best for which kind of feelings? Like how do you use these different things? Because sound and visual are pretty different. Or I think they are.
I just started with photography because I just wanted it to be a stepping stone to get into filmmaking, because filmmaking is like the ultimate art form. You're like tapping into people's consciousness. When you're watching a film, you sort of just watch it. You don't really like, you can sit and talk about it too in the middle of the film, but you want to just like get immersed in it. And that's what I fell in love with. And everything I do is really just to serve that goal of.
So the music is to help
to
you,
make,
like,
you know, a
score
film. It's just the ultimate art form, you know, like music, photo, moving images, directing. I mean, it's all different types of arts being tied into one. So
I can
but
see that.
it's, you know, I meet a lot of people who get really caught up in like, oh, look, what kind of gear you're using, what kind of camera you're using. I'm like, yeah, that's not really the right question. You know, it's like, you know, you don't ask like a writer about like what kind of pencil you use. I need to have that pencil to write better.
Right, no.
But it's like, you know, about like living life and not really about filmmaking at all. You know, you get into like bad situations. That's really the formula for like, you know, having, how you get out of it is like, you know, the story, you know, just all the challenges, you know. I mean, what's a story without conflict, you know? Just like everyone gets along and it's like, that's not a movie.
Yeah, I don't know how the Care Bears ever made episodes. Like, what goes wrong, you know?
Oh, God.
Oh,
And
well.
then they had to come up with a reason.
Have you seen Care Bears?
Yeah, but they like, I have children, so I watch a lot of like kids shows and stuff. Like the contrived problem that needs to be solved in every episode of Paw Patrol or whatever is it's often just like, I don't think I would do anything about this.
Oh, well, wait, have you seen the Care Bear movies?
Not the, yeah, the first
I mean, the
one,
conflicts
I remember
are pretty dark.
The very
I was
first
like,
movie
wow,
I went
this is
to
for
was
kids?
a Care Bear movie.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like really dark stuff. I mean, they had like, it was like a wizard or witchcraft. This kid found like a book and then
Yeah.
it
I feel
like,
weird. I don't think I've ever seen the Care Bear movie.
I saw the Care Bear movie,
Yeah.
like the first one.
I don't know
When
about the
did it come
TV
out?
shows.
I was
I
4.
saw the
Like
TV show.
19,
You were-
like,
wait, you were
70s,
4 watching
maybe
Care
late
Bear movie?
70s.
No, it was the mid '80s.
Okay.
And I was 4. This was the first movie in the theater that my mom took me to, and I left in tears. I was completely distraught. And,
So there you
and
go. There's
terrified
the
by
see
this
conflict
movie.
right there.
That's why.
I think they
you're the way that
sanitize
you
it when
are
they have a
because of
TV
Care
show.
Bears. Okay.
Yeah, but that kind of proves your point, right? You need conflict for there to be any kind of a story.
Right.
So are you writing these stories, or are you just sort of composing the visual?
The
and
the
filmmaking
films
aspect
lately
of
that
it?
we have is like, those are movies short films I'm working on with friends, and just kind of just to exercise and just like get something going, get a connection with somebody that's going to help me with my project when that comes around.
So what are you writing?
Um,
And does it have a charming radio host in it?
Possibly.
It does now.
I need to write that in now.
Yes, of
But
course.
yeah, I was working with a guy who was connected with some Sundance lab stuff. So he was, you know, I had a couple of stories I was pitching him, and he's like, "All right, focus on that one. That's what we're looking for. You know, if you want to like get accepted into this type of festival." So the one I'm actually working on now it's actually just a story about my dad and his sacrifice coming to America. So it's basically Apocalypse Now, but if it were from the Vietnam
From
side.
the other side, right.
And so, you know, there's no film like that out there.
No.
It seems like, you know, even when I was in Vietnam asking about like, hey, can you tell me more about, you know, the Communist Party, what they're doing? He's like, shh, no, don't talk about that. I'm like, well, why not? We're on the back of a motorbike. It's loud as hell. Like,
Right, yeah,
why
yeah.
can't you talk about it? So it's more like, you know, mentally people are imprisoned to like not really talk about that stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, that gives me a little bit of a clue of what it did to you. But, you know, and then my dad, he's talking about it more candidly, but mostly it's about, you know, and they said if you talk about it, you're probably going to get blacklisted and never be able to come back here. So I was like, all right, I don't want that. So how do I twist this around and make it
Just
more?
go down the Eden Center. Those guys will talk about it constantly.
Yeah, well,
They're going to talk about it from one very, very defined perspective, I should say.
yeah, I hear those stories, but they're like mostly just complaining and just, you know, they talk. It's like motherfucking this and motherfucking.
Right, yeah.
It's just like, oh, okay, that whole sentence had motherfucker like 3 times. So
Yes.
it's like, I don't know where I'm going to get meaning from that.
For the longest time, I thought Ho Chi Minh's first name was motherfucking.
So, I mean, the more I learned about it, just the more it didn't make sense, and just like, all right, I don't know what this war is about, but, you know, I'm just going to focus on my dad and what his survival story was. And I just think it's an incredible story, you know, him coming here. And for me, I just feel like I need to honor that sacrifice, because we had such conflict growing up, because I didn't understand why I was being abused or why he was so mad at me all the time and, you know, like trashing my room. It's pretty bad, really dark stuff happening in my past, but like, you know, I was just like wondering why are you doing this to me? You know, there were times when it was just like really dark, and I just like, you know, suicidal, because it's like all my friends are just, you know, living it up and like, you know, like, fuck you, mom. I'm like, how can you say that to your mom? Like, I don't understand how you could talk that way to them. It's just like,
I'll give you a hint, Dewey. White people can get away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it was like blowing my mind, you know.
You would never say that to your mom.
Hell no. My mother's black. She would fuck me up.
Yeah. Come on.
Shit,
Right,
at 40,
I guess
she
any
would
other
fuck me
culture,
up.
they were all white kids.
Right. Yes.
But I'm just like, all
fuck you,
right,
Mom, get out of my room.
That's the white privilege that we've been talking about.
when you're the dominant group, there's no pressure.
Yeah.
And so therefore there's no pressure from the parents on the children either. I mean, that's the sort of living in an emergency 24 hours a day.
You know, and I didn't know any better, and I kind of took some of that stuff home, you know, and it's just like, I wonder what will happen if I do this. You know, I just put my middle finger up, and I had no idea what that meant to my dad, and I got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
But, you know, later on, I'm like, all right, maybe it was all my fault, you know, that I'm getting, you know, so much conflict and aggression from my dad. But then there are other times when it didn't make sense, so, you know.
Little did you know you were working on your film.
Yeah, no, it was coming together. I mean, looking back, I almost feel like, all right, I don't think I want to take back the suffering I went through, because it really built my character and my passion for my art. Because it's like, you know, meanwhile kids are just having it easy. It's like, you know, at this point, it's like they have a hard time like seeing behind, you know, the more deeper meaning of things. But for me, I had to really fight for it, because it's like, all right, if my dad doesn't want me to do this, it's just like, you know, I have to prove to him that I'm going to be good at this, and like, you know, I can prove him wrong.
Do you think it's hard for people to make good art who haven't suffered?
I don't know. From what I've seen, it seems like that's the case.
I don't know any decent artist that
unless
hasn't
you're
experienced a lot of suffering.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
not that I can recall any.
I don't know, unless you have really good connections, and then, you know, you can splatter paint on the wall and it's like $1 million.
Well, that's a whole different thing. All right. I want to shift gears a little bit, but I want you to tell everybody how they can follow you and, you know, get your work and see what you've got upcoming in the band and all of that stuff. So
All right.
go ahead and tell them.
Well, I mean, my tag is Dewey Tron everywhere, so you can go to Instagram, Dewey Tron, DEWEY TRON, and it's pretty much across different social media platforms, so just look for that, Dewey Tron.
All right, there you go. All right, now we want to have you play a game that's called Florida or Not.
Florida or Not?
Okay, that's a noted MC, Substantial. Not getting that right. The way this works is we're going to read you a story with the locational details removed.
Okay.
And you have to figure out if this happened in Florida or not in Florida.
Okay.
So you have like a, 50-50 chance.
Florida or not?
There you go. That's the other one. Okay. Ready?
Yes.
He doesn't seem confident.
No.
No. Okay.
Dealing with Mike, it's okay.
A local gas theft ring banked on this belief in February when it turned vacant lots into impromptu gas stations selling stolen fuel, according to Sheriff Chad Chronister, which is an excellent name.
Excellent.
Yeah, Chronister. Spelled like chrono, like a clock, which is, I don't know, it's not relevant to the story, but it's a great name, Chronister. The group of 7 enjoyed success initially, Sheriff said. More than $60,000 worth of fuel was illegally pumped from 2 gas stations on February 25th, and then from one day, and then transported to vacant lots near the airport, where in the town where this happened. Chronister said the operation came to a close last week, however, when the 6 men involved were arrested on racketeering and grand theft charges. Sheriff said a 7th suspect has fled the country. He detailed how the organized crime ring was able to steal so much gas by using 7 trucks and using a single pump on and off for 12 hours with a homemade pulsar device that kept the bill near $0. The group's homemade pulsar, which replaced the equipment on gas pumps that regulated the price, was made from a block of wood, a steering rod, and a battery, and an electrical board. That's a very vague statement, because obviously we would all build one of these immediately if we knew how to do it. The men used it to pump thousands of gallons into, quote, large bladders inside the beds of their pickup trucks that stored the fuel, and then they would take them off to the lots and be dumped into a gasoline reservoir, and then I guess they had pumps hooked up or whatever. They were selling it for like $3 a gallon. Did this happen in Florida or not in Florida?
it sounds like a Florida thing. The only clue was like, oh, that they left the country. I was like, well, where else could you leave the country if you're,
Maine?
You could just, I guess so. But it doesn't seem like a Maine thing. It does seem like a Florida
There's
thing.
like all of those states that border Canada.
Yeah.
And various states that border
It sounds like a
Mexico.
Florida thing to me. Was this during the
so
gas
you wanna
shortage?
say it's Florida?
Yeah,
I
let's
mean, it
say
happened
Florida.
in February. It's
Okay,
just like
okay.
a month.
Let's say it's
months
Florida.
Ago. Florida? Here, give me the thing. There you go.
Oh,
yeah. Tampa, no less, of course, where all the good Florida man stories come from. Yes, Tampa, Florida, Hillsborough County. Everything good happens there.
This is kind of brilliant.
Most strip clubs per capita, Hillsborough County.
Really?
Yes, that's true. Also, where Hooters started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just letting you know. Also, where Warren Sapp was arrested.
I'm sure you love that.
I was not thrilled about that. I really liked him, and I wanted him to continue his TV career after being
I don't know.
a sack machine. But anyway, it's football, not that thing. Anyway, well, I don't know. He's arrested on sex trafficking or whatever. Okay, so congratulations. You won Florida or not. That doesn't happen very often on this show.
All right,
Yes, I'm
thanks.
very
What's
proud
my
of you.
prize?
Putting the vaccine into salad dressing.
There you go. Michael Flynn yelling at you. Those are your prizes. All right. Tell you what, we're going to take a break. You want to stick around for the rest of the show?
I'll sit and listen.
Okay. It sounds pretty good. You can laugh along, I guess. We're going to take a break. When we come back, all kinds of crazy stuff will happen in the third half of the show. You're listening to Chip Chat on Ripped Radio Network. All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Rip Radio Network. I am your host, Chip. With me, filling in for Tez tonight, is Slim D.
Always here.
And we just always, it's okay, he's appointed himself on the show now. That's fine. You can be here every Thursday night. Been at this 7.5 years. You ready?
I don't know about every Thursday night, but anyway.
Okay, and Dewey's here.
Still
Hi.
here.
But Dewey might be sitting this one out.
Yeah.
Not feeling ready to comment. Okay. So tonight is Brian's got thoughts. The whitest guy on the network has thoughts. What are we? We were on confectioner sugar last. I checked. What was your new name last week? Did you get a new one? Yeah. The other funny but not as talented show as us, Real Talk Uncensored. Marshmallow or something? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're on marshmallow cream or something like that. Yeah.
Oh God.
Have decided that Brian is the white guy on the network.
Okay.
Because of how he talks.
Oh, so talking makes you white.
Well, because it's radio. They can't see.
Oh, so he's the white guy behind the mic.
He is, yeah, right. So, okay. White Brian is going to weigh in on this. Tonight is a cause for celebration. We're not just here celebrating that it's Thursday and therefore Chip Chat, but
I'm here.
And that Slim B is here and that Dewey is here. We are also celebrating the confirmation of the first black woman confirmed to the Supreme Court. Her name is Ketanji Brown Jackson, KBJ, Justice KBJ. Kamala got to announce that the vote was passed.
This is how a round of applause goes.
She was confirmed with a 53 to 47 vote, which meant that she got 3 Republican votes from Susan Collins of Maine, who is a spineless shitbag, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, also relatively spineless, and 1 Mitt Romney, who, I don't know if spineless is the word, but completely tone deaf, I think is probably the right word. But they got this one right. They wanted to be on the right side of history. Now, Justice Brown Jackson, I love saying that. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. You know why I love saying that? Because half the Republican Party can't seem to pronounce the word Ketanji.
They can pronounce it.
They can pronounce it. They choose not to. Just like they can't say Kamala. Kamala, Mala, or whatever they say. KBJ was confirmed to the next level down, right, to the D.C. Circuit by a wide margin, including votes from many Republicans, including Lindsey Graham. She was in the same class at Harvard with Ted Cruz, who voted against her, of course. Probably because she had friends and he didn't. Like, the whole thing is hilarious, but these people who voted for her not 10 months ago, it was less than a year ago, they voted for her to the D.C. Circuit, would not vote for her this time around, claimed that she was sponsored by the radical left and all kinds of stuff. It's ludicrous and stupid, which that's just Lindsey Graham. But, like, there was this whole QAnon backdrop to this, where all of a sudden her rulings on people who she sentenced for long periods of time for child pornography, sex trafficking, and all that stuff were somehow insufficiently long. Because somehow Josh Hawley and some of these other very obvious people, and I will say very specifically Matt Gaetz, who is under criminal investigation and indictment for sex trafficking of minors, right now, they are very, quote unquote, concerned about grooming and pedophilia and all this other kind of stuff.
The nerve.
Right. Now, Matt Gaetz, of course, is in the House and can't vote on this. He has nothing to say about it, but that didn't stop him. So he was very concerned about Ketanji Brown Jackson's sentencing, specifically because he wanted to know how those guys did it and how he can call them. That's true.
You are so fucking full of shit, Mike.
All right, so now people listening may not be able to tell, but you are melanated, I think is the word to say.
Black. I'm black.
Wow.
Yes.
I was going to give you credit. I was going to give you a scientific definition.
Yeah, that's fine. It's okay. I'm black.
Young, gifted, and black.
Rich.
Doesn't work that way. Nina did not include that lyric.
No.
Okay, so, and you know some black women in your life, I think.
A few. I have a black mom.
That's very excellent.
I have a black mom.
Well, it's not a given.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. I could have
I mean,
a white
Barry O
mom.
did not.
You know what?
I'm just saying.
I have a black mom.
Okay, so
And a black aunt, and a black
how are you
grandmother.
feeling about this, like, momentous occasion?
I don't have any feelings.
That's not good. That's not how this is supposed to work.
I don't have any feelings.
All right, tell me about your non-feelings.
I mean, it's just kind of lukewarm for me.
What? Okay, do you know anything about her?
I do. So my best friend in Chicago he's like a U.
Okay. That's
So,
unfortunate.
Yeah, depends on what
You apparently have a certain type of friend that you attract.
He actually was the one to give me information on her.
Okay.
So I'm proud of what she has accomplished, and I am happy that she has arrived where she has arrived.
It's also
But
important.
I'm very suspicious.
I am as well.
I'm very suspicious.
Because she carries a lot of endorsement by the law enforcement community.
I'm very suspicious. But I'm also suspicious for other reasons, too.
Okay.
Because I don't like our vice president. I think she's a hot-ass
Oh,
mess.
you don't like
No,
Kamala.
I can't stand her.
Right.
But you know this.
I can't understand your reasoning for this.
It's
But,
okay. It's okay.
important to note about now Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson is that also she is the first person to have been a public defender who is now a Supreme Court justice.
Correct.
Now, the public defender system is based on the Sixth Amendment, which says that you are entitled to representation and to cross-examine any evidence against you, which we now take to mean that statement of you're entitled to a lawyer. If you
Right.
can't afford one, one will be appointed for you. She's the one that would be appointed for you. The public defender's office in every single municipality, state, whatever, is vastly underfunded, vastly overworked, and they are often taking hopeless cases that they have no chance of winning simply because they believe in rule of law, they believe in the Constitution, they believe in the representation of even the most heinous of criminals, up to and including murderers. And
Do you think that they
all
really
this kind of
believe
stuff.
in it? It's just what they have to do. It's the groundwork that they have to
They
do.
really believe. Nobody takes this job unless they believe it, because it is the worst job in law.
It is.
It is thankless. It is awful. It is unpaid, essentially. There's nothing good that comes out of this. But people do it because they care. Cory Booker was a public defender.
He was.
Okay. So, and that guy cares more than anybody I've ever seen on this planet.
I don't know tons about Cory, but he does come off somewhat genuine.
He's like if I was a senator and from New Jersey.
Lies.
He's that angry and furious about everything all the time, but also very excitable and loud. And also engaged to Rosario Dawson. I'm just saying.
He is not engaged to her. They have split. I don't know where you
okay.
get this
Well, I
information. This
briefly
is like 3
was
months ago.
It doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, they said
They definitely had
too.
something.
They said she was his beard.
Okay.
I don't know anything about that, but
I
thought she was a lesbian. Though.
I'm happily married, but I'm saying, yeah, she was in Rent, but but I was, if Rosario called, not saying no to that phone call.
I'm calling your wife after this immediately.
She calls Rosario. Fine.
Call her for me.
Right. Brian. Okay, that voice you heard is White Brian. Brian, what do you feel about the appointment and now confirmation of Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson?
I think this is the best thing in a long time for not just the Supreme Court, just the vibe of this country and this city. It just needed it because having not only a black woman going in, but a well-qualified, like, hands down, this is the most polished resume you can ever find.
Absolutely.
And you can't deny this person. I saw, one of those quick clip videos of all the Republicans who denied to say they didn't vote for her in. And it's those same people that you'll be talking about later. And it was like, you guys are idiots. You ask those stupid questions that are totally irrelevant. And to the point where you say no, but you know full well that she was the right person.
You know why they're saying no, though.
Of course.
And what
It's obvious.
They're not mean. They're not
what
white.
what Justice Brown Jackson represents is this thing that, this isn't just true in law or this is true across every industry. When you look at people who are confirmed to the Supreme Court, they often have a very similar background, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of Harvard, right? There's a lot of this sort of, there was a time when all the boroughs were represented except Staten Island, right? Because you had Sotomayor.
Staten Island's still not represented.
That's correct.
It has an expensive bridge to get over.
It has 2, 3 actually. If you count the outer bridge, it's barely a bridge. But, you had Kagan from Manhattan, you had Sotomayor from the Bronx, you had Scalia from Queens, and you had RBG from Brooklyn. So, there is a sort of a thing about what we think of Supreme Court. But in every instance, if what you're checking off is clerked for all of these people, has this educational background, this much recommendation from the law reviews, from the bar associations, endorsement by the Fraternal Order of the Police and all this, that pool is large. It's hundreds and hundreds of people. But yet, in that same pool, if those are the qualifications, there are lots of black folks, lots of brown folks, lots of people from other places, that aren't white men that are in that group, but they never get selected. So if the case you're making is that it's based on their credentials alone, this is long overdue. Justice Brown Jackson represents all of those other people who have been carrying around those credentials for the last 50 years that got passed over specifically because of things that aren't those credentials.
Right.
And so for whatever anybody wants to make the case about her being fairly pro-law enforcement, being, fairly tough in sentencing and all this other kind of stuff, this is true of, I think, anybody who makes it to this level in the judiciary. That's all fine, but none of those people are her. And she represents it's unbelievable. I mean, I didn't think I'd see this in my lifetime.
Yeah. But here's the thing. We have, I wouldn't say back-to-back years, but when you had, comparing the Kavanaugh to Justice Kavanaugh, sadly to say.
Beer can Brett.
There we go. And now Justice Brown. For well, it's like, if you think of it as like a commercial, like who would you pick to be part of your company? A person who is straight out of an 80s movie that you figure is like he's going to get in because of the color of his skin and the people he knows, and that's it. Or a person who is totally, absolutely, highly qualified and will not be, and you'll say this up, well, you're kind of overqualified for this job, even though you're rightly perfect. And that's why I laughed at some of those video clips. It was like, oh, she spoke great, she did this, but I'm not voting for her.
Oh, she's so articulate.
Yeah, she's so articulate. She's well composed, but I'm not voting for her. And I was like, what the fuck, really?
All right, can we talk about Tim Scott?
Let's go to that.
Okay, Tim Scott is the only black Republican, I think, in history. No, I'm sorry. Alan Keyes is the other one. There's a handful of these folks out there. I don't understand it. And I'm talking like post-Reagan black Republicans. I don't mean like, between Lincoln and Reagan. There were a lot of them then. And then Reagan happened, right?
Reagan.
Yeah, Ronnie Reagan was all into, invented crack and AIDS and all the other stuff. Whatever. None of that's true. But that's the idea. Or maybe something. Okay. So.
Say no to drugs.
Yeah, right.
Just say no.
Just say no. Like, Tim Scott is looking at his sister, his aunt, his mother, whatever, cousin, achieving this position, this opportunity where he can vote for her and be safe in his seat in South Carolina. He's not facing any kind of a serious challenge. He's not even up for re-election right now, but like the guy is very popular. He's sitting in Jim DeMint's seat, who he was hand-selected by Jim DeMint, who was left to go run Heritage. I mean, you can't get more right-wing Klan member than Tim Scott. Except for one thing about Tim Scott is that he's been stopped by the Capitol Police 7 times because he's black. And even though he's wearing his senator pin, and he's the only black Republican senator.
He doesn't believe that he's black, though.
And the only, really dark black man in the Senate, because Cory Booker's not that dark.
Still doesn't believe he's
very
black.
obviously Tim Scott, you could pick him out in the Senate photo, still get stopped by the Capitol Police. That guy voted against her. And why did he vote against her? Want to take a guess?
I could take 1,000.
Go ahead.
No.
No. You don't want to be on the radio saying what I know what you're thinking. I can hear it between your ears. All right, Brian.
Because she's black.
Right.
That's it.
And therefore can't make good decisions, is going to be lenient on criminals, understands black criminality, blah, 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 Chicago, black on black crime, what about the we need guns and the blah, blah, blah. That. 100% that. Doesn't matter that she's whip smart. That's very funny. Whip smart. Tim Scott. It's bad. It doesn't matter that she's like infinitely qualified. It doesn't matter that she is taking the seat of Justice Breyer, so it's a like for like. It doesn't even hurt the conservative majority on the court. They couldn't possibly. If there was ever an opportunity for these guys to cast a vote that could nominally put them on the right side of history, so they could point to that and say, I voted for the first black woman on the Supreme Court, therefore I'm not a racist. You know, like I've got a black friend. This is their opportunity to do it.
I voted for Obama.
Right. I can't be racist. I voted for Obama. Right. Those people had this golden opportunity here because it wouldn't change the balance of anything, and it's a slam dunk, and she was going to get confirmed anyway.
I completely agree with you.
For whatever reason, we know the reason, but for that reason, they wouldn't take this easy thing. I know people who voted for Obama specifically to avoid the label of racist because they knew it wasn't going to change the election. They were in states where it was safe one way or the other, and they just like, well, look, I voted for Obama, so you can't call me a racist. And that's bullshit because I still can't. But she represented that opportunity to Tim Scott and everybody else.
But are you surprised is my question.
No. No. Right. I am not. I'm upset. I'm angry. I'm ashamed. But I'm not surprised.
She still made it, though.
Thank God. Now,
because there were some iffies.
Now, if Ginny can somehow get Clarence back into that hospital before I see him at Giant again.
That's another story for another.
No, that was last week.
Yeah.
If Clarence, fell down a manhole.
See, this is where I feel like the things need to change.
Should be term limits.
Yeah, there should be term limits.
There should be age limits.
That too.
Not just term limits.
Yeah.
There should be age
limits.
Yeah.
There's probably a point where you're too old to really understand.
I honestly feel like 62 is like the limit for everything.
Well, you can't get elected.
I mean, I'm not running
Hey,
for
let's
anything.
go back to the 60s and don't trust anybody over 30.
I don't. Every day I look in the mirror and I look at that guy and you're like, hey, you're full of shit.
Where's Logan running?
Yeah.
Suspicious.
Who's that guy with those wrinkles? I don't know him. And what's he doing to my house? But just saying. All right. Let's talk about something else that's very pressing. Who is...
Where in the hell are we?
We're at minute 52, which we're well past. Who is and who is not a woman? This is a dumb question, and it doesn't matter. Skip it. No, I'm kidding. Various, also Republican, senators, congressmen, whatever, have weighed in on this in the dumbest possible way, period. And
Caitlyn
I said
Jenner?
period.
Caitlyn Jenner.
Who is a Republican woman.
Die Hard.
Yeah. Has weighed in on this too, of course.
But she was announcing herself as a dad the other day on Instagram. It was very confusing to me.
That is a little confusing.
She was on the golf course.
I mean, she's a mom.
She's
got children.
She was on the golf course, and she was saying that I'm the ultimate dad. And I was like, oh, my God, this is...
Well,
where are you going with this,
stay off
sir?
the weed. Look, whatever pronoun you want to use today is cool with me. I don't care.
I felt like she was trolling.
Well, yeah, obviously. So, very obviously stated, Senator Marsha Blackburn said, quote, I am not a biologist, which is true. You're barely literate. She said that she wanted Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson to define the word woman. And Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson said, not sure how that's relevant, Senator. And no, not going to do that because it's not relevant to whether I should or should not be a Supreme Court justice. I don't feel like that case is coming up in front of us anytime soon. But it did set off this like wave of various people offering their definition of womanhood. Do you have some of these quotes? Do you want to read any of them? You want to read MTG's quote?
Wait, where is it?
It says, it starts with, I'm going to tell you right now what a woman is.
Hold on, which?
Oh, he's getting the paper. Yep. There you go. Yep.
Which one?
This is live radio.
Right here.
Here on Rip Radio Network.
I'm going to tell you right now what a woman is.
Yep. Said MTG. Go on to
This is the
quote.
easy answer.
Yep.
We're a creation of God. We came from Adam's rib. God created us with his hands. We may be a weaker sex. We are the weaker sex. But our partners, we are our husbands' wives.
That's true. So by MTG's definition, until she was married, she was not a woman. Tough break, MTG.
What was she?
Well, it's not
What was
clear.
the pronouns?
MTG.
It.
Yes, she was
An
an it.
it.
I don't know. Until she was a lump of clay with a rib.
So she's Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Well, no, Wonder.
Imitate.
Yeah, until she's married, she can't be a woman because MTG's definition of womanhood is tied to marriage. So women who never get married are not women. Also, there seems to be something where you can walk around and like check people's ribs. Like, hey, are you a woman? Let me poke you in the rib and check. Yeah.
Got an extra rib.
Meanwhile, Representative, I'm using that in quotes because he's probably not eligible to run, actually, for his current seat, and emphasize seat because he can't run for it, is already in the news cycle for implying that cocaine and orgies were par for the course on Capitol Hill, decided to extend his version of this on the House floor, which he started by lecturing Nancy Pelosi, who is in fact a woman from Baltimore, I should point out, even though she represents San Francisco.
Does she have the Baltimore accent?
A little bit, but she has that sort of like Baltimore, like old Union boss machine kind of thing where, you know, if you cross her, she'll fucking dump you.
I just
in
want to
the
ask her what day
bay.
comes after Monday.
Wearing a natty bow hat. I mean, come on. Quote, science isn't Burger King. You can't just have it your way, he said, quoting a slogan that Burger King hasn't used since the 70s. Take note, Madam Speaker. I'm about to define what a woman is for you. X chromosomes, no tallywhacker. It's so simple.
It is so simple.
Said Maddie Cawthorn. Now, as I'm sure he doesn't know, there are many people with different genetic orientations. Sometimes they don't even know about it. You know, they go through life and they're just totally fine. Many people don't have tallywhackers for various other reasons that led the Oxford English Dictionary to go out there and explain exactly what a tallywhacker is to respond to this because people wanted to know. It's not good. Not a good definition, Maddie. Not at all. Speaking specifically as a guy whose tallywhacker doesn't work. So it may as well be cut off. And then could be a woman.
A tallywhacker.
Well, we're very into the tallywhacker
We're
on this show.
Tallywhacker.
Yeah. As Dumb Kevin, Republican House Minority Leader said, Dumb Kevin McCarthy, Madison Cawthorn has many steps to take to get his trust back. That is a direct quote. Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri, which is unfortunate. I know. He said to define a woman, he had a wandering definition, I should say.
Does he have a wandering eye?
He has a wandering uterus. Someone who can give birth to a child, a mother, is a woman. Someone who has a uterus is a woman. It doesn't seem that complicated to me. When the reporter asked him whether a woman whose uterus was removed by a hysterectomy was still a woman, he appeared uncertain. Well, you know, I don't know. Would they? He said.
Maybe not. I'm not sure now.
Not. So to review, here's the GOP tip sheet. If you want to know whether someone is a woman, you should simply walk up to them and say, "Pardon me, are you of Adam's rib?" Alternatively, you could demand to see either a uterus or a tallywhacker.
This is really starting to sound like a great episode of The Handmaid's Tale.
The modern Republican Party is, in fact, an extension of that show.
Blessed be the fruit, and may the Lord open.
Yes, and something under his eye, whatever. You watch
Under
the
his
show.
eye,
I don't
yes,
watch
I
it.
do, absolutely.
Marjorie Taylor Greene believes that all humans, not just women, are creations of God, and the Greene considers herself a woman long before she became her husband's wife. So we're not really sure how that all worked. She's also known for her vigorous workouts and got famous for owning a bunch of CrossFit gyms, and so being the weaker sex doesn't seem like that makes a lot of sense. Who the fuck cares? It's the dumbest fucking problem. It's not a problem. It's not a problem.
But these are the things that they sit and talk about.
They don't just sit and talk about it. They organize, and they win elections based on this. This is how Glenn Youngkin got to be governor of Virginia, because they were afraid that they could teach gender fluidity to children. Florida...
That's your Commonwealth.
I know. Florida's Don't Say Gay bill... or law now.
Don't say gay. No.
It's right. It's funny that you have to say gay to say don't say gay. It bans discussion of sexual orientation or any of that related stuff to children who are below a certain age, which means I couldn't mention that I have a wife. I couldn't mention that I'm a father. I can't mention that we are married, that we have
I can't wait to get to Florida on Wednesday to talk about gay.
Heteronormative. First of all, does Florida know where it is?
No.
I mean, do they know what Key West is?
I don't know, but people in Florida
Key West is going to secede, isn't it?
It's not much left.
Should definitely. Right. Well, climate change is going to take care of that. But no, but I mean, maybe they should, right? Do you believe that there is anybody who goes to Key West and is surprised to find out that there's a lot of gay folks there?
I could. Well. No.
Okay, I'll tell you something off air. It's not me. Also, but heteronormativity is gender identity and stuff. So if you're talking about kings and queens and mothers and fathers and wives and husbands and all of that stuff, how is that different from husbands and husbands or wives and wives
or cats and cats
or cats and cats? I mean, why not? Since we're letting the lesbians in. But, it seems like an honest question. What is the difference between heteronormativity and non-heteronormativity? They're both discussing gender identity. They're both discussing this sort of... but
it's outside of what is considered social norms and social norms.
I think heteronormativity is extremely inappropriate for young children.
I agree.
So, if I lived in Florida and I had young children, and now this law was passed, and it allows you to sue schools over teaching about gender dynamics and stuff.
Be careful, you live in Virginia.
And God willing, they'll pass it here, and I'll be the first one out there with the lawsuit. Heteronormativity is inappropriate for children to learn about. And I expect to see those lawsuits, because these idiots cannot create a law that doesn't automatically backfire on them.
I love this progressive, Mike.
All right. Quick episode of What Would Slim D Do? These are rapid fire questions. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. What would you do if you ever met a rabid fox?
I did meet the fox.
And?
I ran her over.
Good job.
Question.
Okay. There's that ship, the Ever Whatever, that's stuck in the bay. It's the same company.
It has my fucking Porsche in there.
Okay, what should we do about it?
I want my Porsche.
There you go.
I don't give a shit what goes on with the ocean. I want my Porsche.
Sink the ship, get the Porsche. Got it. Nazi car. All right. Is it a good idea to wear skinny jeans in the summer?
Absolutely.
Incorrect. Where should shorts stop?
Right below the balls.
Okay. It's a little higher than I would have guessed, but all right. If your date arrives in an old Honda Accord,
Which
what do
generation?
you do? Let's say mid-2000s.
I'm okay.
Okay. None of those forever. 90s ones, though. Those ones run forever.
I mean, they run forever, so it's cost-effective, more money to spend on me. Next question.
Okay. All right. That's good. What is your favorite thing about Pontiacs?
Oh, my God. I love Pontiacs. I just don't love that Pontiac that was made in California, and it was based on a Corolla platform. Terrible
Pontiac. That's what he means. Okay. Yeah. Appropriate way to eat a hot dog, including toppings.
Stuff it in your mouth.
Including toppings.
Stuff it in your mouth.
He's from Chicago. I wanted him to say all the stuff about the stuff that goes on the
So we do not put fucking ketchup on hot dogs. It is the worst thing ever. It is relish. It is a pickle. It is mustard.
And the Garden Aria stuff?
No, none of that shit.
None of the hot peppers and all that stuff?
You can put hot peppers on there. Those are more Polish based.
Yeah, but it should be like loaded. There should be a lot of stuff on a hot dog.
But it should not be hot dogs.
But it should be no ketchup.
It should not be ketchup.
Are chopped tomatoes acceptable?
No, that is not acceptable.
Right, because too close to ketchup.
Right.
Okay, I'm with you. Let's see. What is the musical genre that people should listen to more? And Dewey, you can weigh in on this too.
R&B.
It's not like it's the number one thing. You're talking about everybody's listening to this.
Metal and rock. I mean, like it's been excluded from like Grammys and all these different. I mean, it's like you don't hear it on radio at all. It's mostly pop and rap.
And pop is very heavily influenced currently by hip hop and R&B.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd like to hear more.
So you want to hear more of that?
I want to hear more fucking R&B. I want to hear more Jill Scott on the radio. Yes,
Well, I'm
absolutely.
not opposed to her, but
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, more.
I want more house music.
I do love house music.
Your Baltimore showing.
I don't care.
Okay.
I need more house music.
Which version of house music?
I
There's
want some
so
good.
many.
I want good.
Frankie Knuckles.
Let's put it this way. I'm more of like the good night, like the '90s, late
I'm a
'80s,
Chicago
early
house
'90s.
head, so
Okay,
That's different kind of house music. It's not the Baltimore.
so I like good deep house.
it's not. He probably knows the house music that I'm
I'm
talking
sure he
about.
does. So you think we should have more of that on the radio?
I don't know about on the radio because it'll probably dilute it and it'll be some person that.
Yeah.
rips
What
it.
about that, Dewey? Can't let good rock on the radio; it gets ruined.
It's all poppy now. I don't like any of it. I can't listen to radio.
More Britney Spears?
All right, you're banned. All right. Well, that'll do it. That's the end of the show.
Is it?
Believe it or not.
Oh my God!
it's
There was the fast
time for.
Without overtime.
We didn't really hit too much of the overtime. It's time to cue the music, Brian. We're close to hitting the mark. We're a little over, but not by too much. Go ahead. All right, you hear that music? It means it's time to say goodbye.
Oh no!
So we want to say thank you. Thank you to Slim D for hanging out with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks to the incredible Dewey.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Your
I feel like
wisdom.
it's- again, like it just feels like whatever I had to say was just so wholesome compared to like all the stuff that was being said. I was like, whoa, I don't know.
I know Mike is kind of trash.
It's all wholesome. It's all good stuff. Check out your exciting projects.
Thank
People
you.
can follow you. Give them the hashtag
Facebook,
again.
Instagram at Dewey Tron, DEWEYTRON.
All right, cool. Thanks to our radio partners, Google, Amazon, Truth Social, Pandora, all those guys. Thanks to NOTN for keeping us on for another week down there in New Orleans. Twice a week, actually. They play us twice a week. Thanks to our home on the interwebs, coplaymedia.com. And thanks, as always, to our family here at Rip Radio for making us sound as smooth as a